Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Gore here, and we are live once again. It's another Tuesday night. We've got a special guest on the show tonight. Should be a good show, and of course, it's always off to a great start. It should be a good show when there's a giveaway. And I got to tell you what, tonight's giveaway is going to be a great one. So if you guys are tuning in and watching this live, or maybe you're going to see this in the rebroadcast, you guys are going to want to pay attention. You guys are going to want to stick around for the show. We are going to give away a Speed Demon Pro Rod topped off with a Mega Jaws Elite spinning reel or bait caster. You guys will be able to take your pick if you're the lucky winner. Yes, that's right. Same rod that our special guest and like Brent Chapman, even Cliff Crochet are going to be using in the MLF. It's a sick rod. It's pretty sweet. So you guys are going to want to check it out. It's going to be awesome. So the way you guys are going to win this, so make sure you guys are paying attention for your chance to win. As you can see scrolling on the bottom of the screen, you guys want to like, comment, and share this broadcast, especially on Facebook. YouTube, definitely like, comment, and make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. So this is a giveaway that is going to be going in between YouTube, Facebook. Whoever wins it, wins it. It's the way it goes. I can pick the winner through my StreamYard account, and it can happen whether you're Facebook or YouTube. One rod, one reel. It's a sick combo, guys. I'm telling you, I fish with this thing almost every weekend. It is amazing, and yours will be brand new, catered to you. So let's jump over to the chats. See who we got checking in already before we bring in our special guest. So we've got, let's see here. Gary E., what's happening? Melissa Justice, always glad to have the Justice family in the house. Don, how are you? Randy Tober, what's going on, man? Gary, nice to see you. Who else we got in here? Scott Hooten, of course. Andrew Peters, what's going on? Tim, how are you, man? Glad to see you. How's that Toyota coming along? Hope it's doing good. Cajun Rob Fishing. Yeah, great giveaway. You bet it is. We're going to throw that up there. That's one of those giveaways that you just can't help but love. Taylor, how you doing? Jigging with Jack, what's going on? So guys, again, let me just tell you guys, please make sure you click that like, subscribe, tag your friends, tag your buddies, your sister, your wives, your husbands, whoever it may be, like this, and make sure you're commenting. That's how we're going to find you in here. So without too much further ado, we got a special guest. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've got quite a few pros. We got lots of big guides throughout the country. KastKing is just ever growing and blowing up. You know, we have Brent Chapman. Who doesn't love Brent Chapman? You know what I mean? He's been our longest running pro in the MLF. We added Cliff Crochet. Actually, Cliff came to us, bought some of our reels, and was like, these things are awesome. He jumped after his contract was over with a previous company. Joel Pascal, what's happening, brother? I'm going to hit you up one of these days. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. But anyways, Cliff came to us, and now some of our newest additions with Skeet Reese. He's joined the team. And then, of course, our guest tonight, James Elam. It's going to be a great show. We're going to bring him in here in just a second. So you guys, like I said, make sure you share this broadcast. The more people we have jumping in, the more comments, the more engaged, the more we're able to do these kind of giveaways. And I tell you what, a Speed Demon Pro Rod and a Mega Jaws Elite is sick. But you want to know what else is sick? Our special guest, James Elam. We're going to bring him in. He's an elite. What's going on, James? How you doing, man?
What's up, AJ? Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited about that giveaway you're going to do this evening because I've got one of those same combos sitting right here. And that's something. Well, I got to keep it away from the fan.
Ceiling fan, yeah.
Right here, I'm going to be using this rod in Florida. This is on a 7.6 medium heavy Speed Demon Pro rod, and this is the regular Mega Jaws. I don't think this is the Elite, but yeah, heck of a combo right there. I've been throwing a lot off the bank, in the pond and stuff and testing, and I really, really enjoy it. So something I'll be using in Florida for sure. It's a good combo.
The Mega Jaws Elite bait casters, they have been on back order for a while, but we just got the 7:2 to 1, I believe is the gear ratio on that one. I have to double check because I know it's like 7:2 to 1 or 7:4. We've got so many 7:2 to 1s and 7:4s. But that is that self-adjusting Elite true centrifugal braking system. And the Mega Jaws that you just showed, that's actually more of like the standard duty, but it still fishes as good as a lot of the Elite stuff. I mean, you're an Elite yourself, you know what I mean? You're out there hashing some fat checks, putting some big trophies up above your head, and you're digging that reel, like you said. So you've been enjoying it. You've went out and done some fishing with it already?
Yeah. So I live right here west of Tulsa on Keystone Lake, and, I can go down to the bank really easily, just throw stuff off the dock and kind of see what I want to, match up what rods and reels and get my gear ratios right and line size and all that stuff dialed in before I hit the water. Right now I don't have a boat, so I'm waiting on that. That'll probably be here in another week or so. Sold my other one, so I'm out of a boat right now, just in the middle of all that stuff. January is a really busy time around here for sure.
I tell you what, that's crunch time, man. I mean, you just got, like you were telling me earlier, you've got like 30 some odd rods and reels that you're spooling up, lining up, getting ready to go for this season. You don't have a boat. So now you got a new boat coming in. Is it going to be a Phoenix this year again?
Yeah, same exact boat as last year. A 21 PHX with the Suzuki, Lowrance electronics, power pole charge, all the goodies on it. So looking forward to it. It'll be the same exact boat, so it'll be really comfortable in terms of getting used to it and stuff. I just got to go break it in, get it wrapped, and do all that stuff. So there's a lot to be done.
Now, is it already rigged when you get it, or you still got to get the power poles put on? You got to get all your graphs put on and all that good noise?
No, Phoenix takes care of a lot of that. I'll have to do some simple little things like putting on little gadgets that I do, just little extra add-ons. And then, it takes almost a half a day or a day to get all the graphs dialed in and get everything set up how you want it. Everything perfect. When you step out there on the water, you want everything working correctly and all the bugs worked out. So there'll be a lot of that going on and a lot of time spent doing that. So.
Nice. Now, you said you got that new Suzuki on there. Now, I'm an old school Suzuki fan from my motocross days and everything else, and love Suzuki. I hear that new Suzuki 250, and that's what I assume you're going to be running is the 250. I hear that thing is sick. Now, they've had a good motor the last couple of years, but last year they announced that they were coming out with a new or a refreshing design that's supposed to be even better. Have you actually ran that motor yet, or is this the first time you're getting your hands on that new version?
This will be the first time I've gotten my hands on it, so I'll be able to check back in. Maybe we can do another show here in a month or so, and I'll really let you know what I think about it. But it's supposed to be better from what I hear. Some things I'm maybe not be able to, I shouldn't maybe talk about yet, but once I get my hands on it, I'll be able to know and tell you definitely, from my perspective, what I think about it. So
we don't want to give no secret.
The one thing I can tell you is I loved it last year. The one I had, super durable, didn't have any problems. It was just a really good motor, really good hole shot. Really athletic, all the turning and stuff like that. And the boat had great lift, the good speed and everything that you need, in a high performance bass boat.
I understand. Now, what is the break-in process? I know we're talking a lot about Suzuki's right now, but maybe this is more. What's the break-in process going to be like for that Suzuki?
So usually, I think last year, I go by the book, and I don't hardly ever remember exactly what it is, but I think it's like 2 hours of kind of taking it easy, like maybe I almost think you idle for like 20 or 30 minutes or something before you even start running the motor. But, once you get into the meat and potatoes of breaking in the motor, it's a lot of trimming down and jacking the motor down and running it really hard and working it out really hard to where it puts a really good load on the motor to really seat the rings and get everything hot. And, getting into like 3 or 4 hours, you want to be able to, you can trim it up and go a little bit faster, but usually you don't want to go top full speed for more than like 5 minutes at a time. So you can kind of get into breaking them in as the tournament year goes on, but you got to be careful. You don't want to go make a long run where you're running, an hour at full speed. You kind of want it broke in before you go do that.
Right. Totally understand. So, well, enough about Suzuki, even though I love you, Suzuki. Ain't hating. But so, James, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into fishing? A lot of people say, like their dad or their grandpa, or even some of their, their mother or somebody got them into it. Like, what's your story? How did you get into fishing?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. My dad and my grandfather, that's how I got into fishing. It was just kind of like a family culture. My dad fished tournaments. My grandpa was more of less of a tournament angler and more of a big bass fisherman. He went and he hunted for big fish. And my dad did that too, but as he got a little bit older, he started to get into tournaments, and he did really well, around Oklahoma. And of course, he started taking me, and we fished tournaments together when I was young. And there was a little trail here in Oklahoma, northeast Oklahoma, called Fishing Pals, and it was a father and son or father and daughter league, and it was a really big deal, at the time. And we did that from the age of 7 or 8 to time I was 13 or 14 or something like that. And then, got out of that and kind of started doing bigger tournaments together. And then, when I was in high school and then in college, he was fishing with his buddy, and I'd be fishing with the buddy, and we kind of fished the same tournaments and stuff like that. So we would, always stay, at the lake, and it was just a lot of fun, and besides that, we did a lot of fun fishing. So I guess the the matter of the whole thing is he got me into bass fishing for sure,
Right.
and got me to where I'm at. And you know, it was always in my blood to do that, and it's what I love the most, you know, growing up.
Hey, you know what? That's fantastic, and that's, you got to love that. Like when you have that passion from, like, my dad got me into it or this and that,
Yeah.
and you get hooked on it. It's just, your roots are there. You know, it's awesome. But Scott Hooten, we're going to take a question real quick from the fans here. Scott Hooten asks, one rod, one reel, one lure. What are you going with? I guess it depends on the body of water and time of year too, I guess. So
Yeah. So for me, it would probably have to be a Texas rig or a jig. And, you know, let's just pick a jig. Or either one, it's the same rod and reel. I'd probably go with, I would probably just say an 8-to-1 gear ratio Bassinator Elite. Just because I really like that reel, and that 8-to-1 gear ratio is a good medium range. It sometimes it can be too fast if you're winding baits, like fishing some of your reaction baits, but you can always slow down with it. But you really need that 8-to-1 when you are fishing slow baits and you want to take up line, or you're pitching and you want to get on them quick and pop them and get them in the boat. And so I would probably go with the 8-to-1 gear ratio. And I would probably look at like the 7.3 Speed Demon Pro rod, the jig and worm rod, or, you know, one of the rods that's really impressed me is this Select Royale rod series, and
really?
the heavy action 7-footer. And
Nice.
and I really like to throw, you know, a Texas rig or a jig on like a 7-foot heavy, not like a super heavy, but just what this exact rod is, and it's really sensitive, and for the price, you can't beat that.
Yeah,
I think this rod's got sensitivity of like a $250 rod, and I think they're like $69.
Yeah,
so,
it's a Japanese carbon fiber rod. It's awesome. Fuji guides. It's a real deal, man. Have you checked out the? Do you have a Speed Demon Pro flipping yet?
Do what now?
Do you have a Speed Demon Pro flipping rod yet?
I do. It's funny you said both of those things, because the rod that we just talked about that I would pick is sitting right here, rigged up with this Royale Select, and it's got a jig on it. It's the heavy action 7-footer.
And there's your Bassinator.
That would be it. And then my flipping setup would be a Speed Demon Pro. Now I got to be kind of slow at this because I'm doing this one-armed, and I could have a collision or an accident with something in the room. So, but a 7.6, yeah, this is 7.6 or 7.5 heavy action, the Speed Demon Pro rod. But this is the Speed Demon reel. This is the 10-to-1, and I definitely prefer this when I'm flipping. The 10-to-1, you know, you get more flips in a day because you're just wasting less time reeling the bait in. You get it back to the boat real quick, and man, it never fails. When you're flipping in shallow water, those fish will thump it and take off running, or, you know, they eat it and take off running quick. And it just, you always need as much gear ratio as you can get. And every now and then, you lose a little bit of power with a higher gear ratio, but it doesn't matter when you have a strong rod like that. So,
yeah, it's, you know, and I've been using that Speed Demon Pro reel or Speed Demon Elite reel and Speed Demon Pro rod and the flipping for a while. And my flipping rod actually has that same one, the 10.5 to 1 gear ratio on there. And I've caught quite a few large bass on it. My biggest on that so far on that particular reel is a 6.5 pounder, and I had no problems turning that fish. And I'm sold. You know what I mean? I was sold from the beginning, but I've had zero problems. I've got quite a few videos on YouTube of pulling 4-pounders out of trees with it and not struggling. I mean, and that's really like a lot of times where that rod comes in handy, like you said, where you can just backbone them out and then you've already got them going, and it's a nice setup. Yeah,
I enjoy it.
So I got a question to ask you. Now, of course, you've killed it. You've won a championship in the or an elite series in the Bass Tour, and then of course you are in MLF, you know, and you've had some really good finishes, made a lot of cup events, and made some good money. But if you weren't professional bass fishing, what would you be doing?
You know, the great thing about, you know, what I do is I get to kind of be my own boss. I do have a lot of bosses and people that I answer to, but at the end of the day, it's something that I do, and I can kind of do things on my own time and do things when I need to. So I would really enjoy something that, you know, I could kind of control or own in a business or so. I don't know whether I like messing around on the tractor outside. So maybe a dirt work business or something like that would be good. There's a lot of overhead and all that equipment, but at the end of the day, you can make a lot of money doing that. I think that would be something that would be pretty cool. I have a good buddy that does that, and me and him are a lot alike. So I've always thought that my family, my dad's side of the family, all the men are machinists, and they own a machine shop, and I know how to machine, and that's something that's really neat. And I enjoy. Yeah. And then, I always look up to car mechanics. My grandpa was a car mechanic, and I just think that I would really enjoy that. So, and other than that, I've dabbled in a lot of different things like, welding or whatever. And, but those would be the things, that I mentioned before that I would probably enjoy doing the most.
Nice. So I've got a question coming out of the comment section. Favorite lake to fish? Favorite lake to fish of all time? That's
a real hard one. Probably some of the Texas lakes, just some of the better Texas lakes, like East Texas lakes, when it, on a good day, or some of the Florida lakes on a good day. But it's hard to get some of those Florida lakes on a good day. You don't want a cold front. But if I had to narrow it down to one, I mean, I'd probably have to actually pick a lake up north that had smallmouth and largemouth in it. I'd probably have to go St. Lawrence River.
St. Lawrence River. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yes. Because are you after smallies?
Yeah. So the thing is, I go there and I just try to catch smallmouth instead of largemouth. But I've just had a lot of good tournaments up there, and always enjoyed it when I'm up there. Of course, it's always July or August when we're up there, and it's just really good weather when it's really hot at home, so it makes it nice. But it's really hard for me to pick a good lake. When we went to California, I really liked the California Delta, but I've only been there once. I've always overall enjoyed the two states. If I had to pick the best fishing states, or my favorite fishing states, would be New York and Texas.
New York and Texas. Now, New York because of the smallmouth. Texas, obviously, it's Texas.
Well, so New York, not only smallmouth but largemouth too. They've got some fantastic largemouth fisheries like Cayuga Lake, which we went there last year, and we're going to again next year. And they've got a lot of what you call inland lakes, like besides the Great Lakes, the Great Lakes system. That they've got a ton of really good grass lakes that have tons of largemouth in them, and Cayuga has actually got a lot of smallmouth in it now. So all those Finger Lakes, you've got Oneida Lake, you've got Lake Erie out of Buffalo, you've got the St. Lawrence River, you've got Lake Champlain on the eastern side, which it's half shared with Vermont, but it's got a lot going for it as a state when it comes to a bass fishery state.
Okay. Now, would you say that Cayuga is capable? I mean, any lake that has bass is capable of producing a monster. But would you like Texas lakes, kind of like Florida, and kind of like the Delta, I mean, you think of those lakes, those produce whales of bass sometimes. Now, would Cayuga, is it more known for larger bass or just good football chunks that like to chew?
Just what you said, good football chunks that like to chew. It is up north. You just cannot grow them as big. The Florida strain will not live and survive up there. Those lakes ice over. You can, they drive, I guess, snowmobiles and have their ice huts and ice fish out there right now. That's probably what they're doing. But the Florida largemouth bass needs to be in the South. It's got to have a lot of food and just the right, and that's why they do well in Texas and Florida and California. They just get bigger in those states, and and some of the states in between. It's just certain big whitetail deer are in certain areas of the country too. It's just the way it is, I guess.
Nice. Well, guys, if you guys are just now tuning in or catching this in the rebroadcast, we are doing a giveaway, a Speed Demon Pro Rod, just like what James Elam is going to be using, Brent Chapman, a lot of our different pros are going to be using that. We're also going to top it off with your choice, whether it's a spinning reel or the Baitcaster and the Mega Jaws Elite. So how you guys are going to win, if you look down, you see a little ticker going across, gives you the details. But basically, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, only one person is going to win this combo, and it's still pretty good odds. You got to like, comment, share on Facebook at least. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed as far as that goes as well. So, James, back to you on that one, man. I know that the MLF Bass Pro Tour kicks off on February 13th, but have you been busy with some other MLF? I don't know how much you can talk about because there's some of the team things happening. So have you actually fished some of your team circuits already?
Yeah.
Without giving anything away that you can't give away?
Yeah. So I believe I could say that filming for that's done. So everybody's done, but yeah, fished the team series. That was a really cool thing. Really neat experience. Had a lot of fun, with my teammates. Actually, Brent Chapman was one of the teammates. So that was pretty neat. And, I picked him because of his history and how good he is and how good of a shallow water fisherman he is. Because when we get thrown in on these team series deals, they just drop you at a lake and you have to figure it out really quick. And normally that's a shallow water power fishing deal. And that's what he's best at. And he's done really well in those formats. So it was just a no-brainer for him to be on the team. And, besides just being a great guy and everything. So really happy to have him. And we had a really good time doing that team series for sure. So we could talk more about it after they air it. And
exactly.
But yeah, other than that, the results have they're confidential to this point. So.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I was like, I don't want to say anything, and I don't know how much you can talk about without giving it away. I know MLF wants you guys tight-lipped on certain things and things like that. I remember one time I was doing a show with Brent Chapman, and I started talking about what somebody else was using in the day, and he was like, hey, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Oh, I forgot. My bad. My apologies, man. So, but Brent Chapman,
we've got a ton of rules.
Yeah. Oh, man. And speaking of rules, what do you think of this new format this year to where it's your top 5 biggest? It kind of goes back to the old days of bass tournament in a way. You're looking for your biggest bag. So to me, I mean, now we're going to see changes where like you had guys like that would just get on a school and catch a scoreable and just run barely scoreable and just run up the charts, and run up that score tracker. But now that doesn't quite matter anymore.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to see that happen. And, there's a lot of things that are going to happen. Sometimes you'll go into a tournament and it won't be any different in terms of how you approach it, how you practice for it. You're just going to try to go catch them the best you can. And at the end of the day, you're going to see how big your five biggest ones weigh, or how big, how much, whatever they weigh. But, for me, I think it's going to take me back to kind of what I was used to and what I grew up doing. And that's going to be the same thing for all the guys. It took me 2 or 3 years to get really, used to the multi-fish format. But there were some guys that fished Major League Fishing Cups before I did, for 3 or 4, 5, 6 years that knew kind of what to do in that format. And I was just getting used to it in the past couple of years, and now we've switched. But, I'd probably rather fish the 5-fish format personally. But at the end of the day, what I want is it to be relatable for all the viewers and all the fans. And I think the problem with before, even though it was very, very cool to watch, there was a disconnect in between what does 23 bass for 68 pounds mean? I mean, like that may have been a good day or may have been a bad day, depending on where we went, but it's hard to judge what that means as a 5-fish fisherman in normal tournaments across America. And so it kind of created a new standard in a way, and we're going to go back to the old standard, and it's going to be more relatable in that manner. So it'll be neat, just to see how it all works out this year, under that format. Opinion wise, I'd fish both. I don't really care too much, but I'd rather it be something, that's good for everybody and the viewers.
Right. No, I mean, you said it right there, like, 28 fish for 60 something pounds versus 5 fish for 30 pounds. I mean, there's, you take 10 fish, now you're at 60 pounds. One guy's catching 10 bass that are getting him up to not that he's going to catch 10 bass that are going to get him up there. I mean, he's having a stellar day, but I mean, it can happen. Like, who knows? It's pretty far-fetched, but still, there are those tournaments where people have caught 5 fish and got up to almost 30 pounds to 30-pound bags. I mean,
absolutely.
So I think it's going to be exciting. You're going to see people swinging for the fence a lot more. I think a lot of your finessing is going to change, where a lot of guys will just go out into deep water and just, sit there and just finesse them out of, that. I think active target's still going to be key, but I think guys that really like to power fish are going to really shine in a way. But we'll see. It could be a game changer.
And, multi-day tournaments over time are always different how they develop and what you need to look for. But, one thing that's going to be definitely a different thing is in a 5-fish format, only about an hour or 2 your day needs to be efficient. And what I mean by that is, like, you need 1 or 2 good places, and you could start off the day and really, usually in a 5-fish format, you've caught most of your weight in 10% of the day. Usually, a lot of times that happens, not always, but you could, if you can stay efficient all day and just call up, that's great, but it doesn't always happen like that. And you'll never win in our old format if that was the case. And you still could have done well if you would have had only 10 or 20% of your day was good. But if you're going to win in the multi-fish format, like 90% of your day needs to be really good. Right. And because you just have to catch them all day long and just stay on them and just stay efficient.
Stacking that weight. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like you said, like you have these feeding frenzies at times where there's just a window, like, man, between like 8:30 and 9:30, it just turned on for me. And shut off. And then right before the day was over, boom, I had one more little spurt. And that was it. And that could make somebody's day completely, where somebody else is way offshore and they're just chink, 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 just slaying pound and a halfer all day long and just leaving them in the dust. But that's very true. Now I got a question coming on. Alan here says, James, do you prefer forward-facing sonar or just a fish finder with 2D down imaging or side imaging? What's your favorite? Who are you with this as far as graphs go, by the way, electronics?
So I use Lowrance, and of course I prefer forward-facing sonar. I mean, it's great.
Cheating? No.
Now, it can always help you some way, even though if it's not just a total offshore event where you're really just seeing them all the time, it can still help you in a shallow water event. It can tell you a lot of things. It can tell you, you can pan around and see structure and rocks. You can see under docks with it. You can see where brush piles are at and stuff like that. In bait, you can, scan across the cove or a cut and see where the bait's at and see what they're doing, see if they're running around getting chased.
Right.
There's so many good things about it. And
you can tell.
But at the same time, I don't want to fish against somebody else that has it. I just wish I was the only one that had it. So I guess maybe the question is would I prefer if we had it or didn't have it and we went back to without it, like 3 or 4 years ago? It's a hard question for me to answer.
I like the way you worded that. Now I'm curious to your answer. All right, you have to choose for one season. And you're in control of making the rules. Would you throw everybody out the window and say no more forward-facing sonar, no Panoptics, no nothing of that?
I don't know if I would, but I would definitely be okay with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just enjoy doing it so much, and I'm kind of a deep water fisherman, a structure fisherman. That's where I'm going to be better. I can catch them shallow and do all that stuff, and whatever I got to do. But I really just love to get offshore and fish, especially in the summertime, especially later in the summer and in the fall, and anything like that makes it even better for me. I love it. So it's really, one of those deals. I really love using the forward-facing sonar. So it would be really hard for me to give it up, but I would not mind if we just decided, hey, we're not going to do that anymore, or they're going to ban it, But I'd probably rather fish with it.
I tell you right now, Lowrance, Humminbird, Garmin, they don't want to hear that.
No,
they want everybody getting on it.
I think it's got a lot more people involved in the sport too. But man, I just really, really like the technology that I have, and it tells me so much more than I knew before. And it's kind of debunked some things, but it's also, it just makes your day more efficient. It just, in practice especially, it just tells you more. You just get more data during the day of practice and kind of get to piece things together so much faster.
Right. Maybe we'll see that in the future. Maybe they'll do some like handicap tournaments where like one day,
Yeah.
one tournament, they take all the forward-facing sonar off. They won't let you have that unit hooked up.
Yeah.
And the next day, that's all you can use. That'd be kind of neat to see those little. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll get a little fruity in some of their concepts.
Yeah. You never know.
Well, let me get to another question here, and then we'll pretty much coming up on our 30 minutes of the show, and I appreciate having you on. But Scott Hooten asks, favorite style of fishing, not for tournaments, just your favorite style of fishing when you want to get out there and have fun.
That's a tough one too, because I just like to do a lot of different stuff. But I really enjoy just going up and down the bank, cranking a rock leg, and that's kind of a Northeast Oklahoma thing. I really enjoy cranking a lot, just whether that be, it's kind of shallow mid-depth stuff, just whether that be a square bill or some kind of shallow crankbait, or some kind of mid-depth crankbait that like a wiggle wart or something, or a rock crawler that only goes 8 foot or something like that. That's probably one of my favorite ways to fish. Other than that, it would have to be either punching grass or flipping some kind of grass or vegetation, flipping.
Okay.
Just because of the close contact and the fun, part about, when you flip in there and they thump it and you jack them. So
yeah, that flipping bite is hard to beat. That's just springtime flipping, man. That's one of my favorite, ripping them out of grass and structure. It's just such a good time. Now I got a question here. It says, does James like to fish for other species when fishing for fun? Are you a big crappie fisherman? Do you like catfish? Do you ever go offshore, get out in the salt? What are some of your other than bass fishing, what are some of your favorite go-tos?
So crappie fishing. So here on Keystone Lake, it's a really good crappie lake. And speaking of forward-facing sonar, that just makes it too easy. It should be outlawed for crappie, but it makes it a lot of fun for me. I can go catch them pretty good and feed us for a while. Just a couple of days here on Keystone. So I really enjoy crappie fishing. I just don't have much time for anything else. I try to go hunting, once or twice a year, but the crappie fishing will kind of keep you a little tuned up, and also it's at its best, and it's my favorite time to go when the bass fishing's bad around here, and it's really cold. So that's another thing about the crappie fishing.
Now, did you get a Kestrel Elite bait?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I thought about that for crappie fishing.
Yes. You'll have a ball with that thing. And of course, any of our Zephyr or smaller reels, but we've got a Kestrel spinning coming out too. But you're going to have a blast crappie fishing with that.
Good.
That
yeah, I need to find a rod to put it on.
Oh man, well, hey, things are coming. There's some rods. I've been drop shotting with the Kestrel on one of our really light walleye rods, and I adore it. It's good stuff. So
good. You use those walleye rods?
I'm using the walleye rods. Yeah, it's an IM9 blank Fuji components. It's really high in AAA manganese cork. It's a killer, nano resin technology. It's a killer setup. And I've been drop shotting with it. And I never drop shot with a bait caster. And when the Kestrel come out, I was like, all right, 13X braid. Have you tried the 13X braid yet?
No. So I'm with Seagar for line. So
my bad. I apologize.
But the Kestrel, I actually did a boat show this weekend and did a seminar with it and a 7-foot medium heavy, talking about power shotting, with 12 and 15 pound line. Yep. And it's just the perfect reel for that. It doesn't hold a ton of line, but you're making short pitches, and It's just the perfect reel for that. Super, super free because that big spool on there, and it doesn't have a lot of weight. It just surprises you how much, better a reel throws without a ton of line on, with all that weight.
Oh yeah, throw some of the. I'm sure Seagar's. You said you were with Seagar, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got some kind of a killer finesse braid or something to that nature. But yeah, you put a finesse braid, a really thin diameter finesse braid, like 10-pound finesse or something on that Kestrel, and go out crappie fishing or drop shotting or something. Dude, you're gonna have a ball. You're gonna have a ball.
I'll have to use it here in a couple weeks. So I'll get to go once or twice. I'll go break the boat in on the lake. And then it'll be time to go to Florida, but I'll make sure I go check the crappie out, and I'll try that.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Well, we've definitely surpassed that 30-minute mark. Glad to have you on. Of course, in your honor, we want to give away that Speed Demon Pro rod. So if you guys are watching right now live or in the rebroadcast, we're going to announce the winner next Tuesday night. May have another special guest on. We got to get Skeet Reese on here pretty soon. I don't know if you've ever heard of that guy, but I know that Skeet's cool guy, man. And of course, you're fishing with we got Cliff Crochet on our team now. From last year, the year before, Brent Chapman, who's been on the Team Fox Rent-A-Car team with you in the team events MLF. And then I know that you said you love you guys were picking each other for great personalities, and of course you said he was great at the shallow water fishing. And of course, when I announced that I was going to have you on my show the other night, old Josh Bertrand slid up in my comments. Was like, that's my dude right there. So he's giving you some love, telling you I love Josh. Josh is one of our local fishermen out here in Arizona. Mad respect for Josh. Obviously, he's got mad respect for you. So I had to give that shout out to Josh for you. So
that's awesome. Awesome.
But yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for coming on. Anything you want to let the fans know? Anything you got to say before I turn you loose? How people can follow you? Obviously on the MLF tour, but do you have any social media channels you'd love to get some love on?
Yeah, just Facebook, Instagram, James Elam Fishing. Follow along, throughout the year, Major League Fishing. Get the app and checking on the tournaments, and you're looking forward to the year. We're fishing red crest at Lake Norman, so that's the big one this year. It's going to be kind of a tougher fishery. But man, somebody's got to win a big $300,000 first place prize and a big trophy. So, looking forward to that one, and just getting started here in a couple of weeks in Florida. So, looking forward to kicking off the year, and stay tuned and see what happens.
Nice. Last question before I turn you loose, because you mentioned $300,000. Let's say you win $300,000. Okay, what's the first thing you're buying with that $300,000?
It'd be really hard for me not to pay my house off.
I was going to say, not a smart purchase.
So, just think about it, though, how much extra money I would have if I paid that off. Think about that, because it's, but I would probably go buy a brand new, or probably not a brand new, but probably go buy a new dually for my wife for her barrel racing.
Oh, there you go.
That would probably be one of the number one things. She'd probably want another horse trailer. So we take care of her.
Yes. And happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Maybe I would probably get a new truck, because I'm kind of, this is probably the 4th or 5th year I've had my Tundra. So we'd probably go take care of that. And would there be any money left after that? I don't know. It doesn't go very far this day and age. So
now to give love to that Tundra, you said that you have a lot of respect for mechanics and things like that. I've worked in the automotive industry for basically my entire life.
Yeah.
And there's one truck that we never see on our repair racks, very seldom, least amount of maintenance, least amount of repairs, and that is the Toyota Tundra. They are. So you said you got 4 or 5 years on this Tundra.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. If I had a Tundra like 2017 or 18, I would have no want in getting rid of it, other than fuel mileage.
This one's a 19. The only thing wrong with it is the fuel mileage. But at the end of the day, it pulls really well. For a gas motor, it's kind of got like 3/4 ton, components in it, but at half ton size. So it's really nice in tournaments. So we talked about Josh Bertrand. I stay with him, Roy Hawk, and Gerald Spoer. We'll rent a house. We get 4 of us in a house, and there's a bunch of boats in the yard, and it's really easy to maneuver around compared to like a 3/4 ton truck or 1 ton or something like that. And other than that, I've driven it. I change the oil a lot, and rotate the tires. But other than that, I've had a wheel bearing go out, and I've owned 2 Tundras for the last 8 years, I think, fishing, and that's the only thing that I can think of that I've had happen.
And that wheel bearing thing is rare.
And I started hearing it, and so we went ahead and changed it just in case. But other than the routine maintenance, I can't say or remember ever doing anything, and that's one big thing to me, because I know how bad, how much bad stuff can happen. And
Absolutely.
As a tournament professional going to these tournaments, you don't get a rain check. If your truck breaks down, you better go find something else, or rent a U-Haul truck or something. And I don't want those problems.
Yeah, no, the Tundras, They're where it's at, man. They really are. I can't say a bad thing about them except fuel mileage and price tag, but highest resale value. So you could turn around and sell it, you know, and make pretty much your money back. I mean, they're fantastic. Plus, with the vehicle shortage, I'm almost telling you get rid of it, but at the same time keep it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you get your almost all your money back, but don't get rid of it. Like, no, they're awesome. They're awesome. Well, James, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Tell the wife we appreciate your time, and hopefully you're going to win $300,000 to get her that new dually and pay off the house. So maybe a horse trailer. Maybe you'll also get big fish, and you'll get some Tundra bucks, and Phoenix will give you some extra stuff, and you'll have a great payday if you bring home that $300,000. So
that'd be great. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, James. I'm going to turn you loose. Have a great night, man.
All right, see you, AJ. See you guys.
Thank you, man. James Elam, ladies and gentlemen. So, guys, stay tuned. The MLF Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour kicks off February 13th at Kissimmee Lake, Florida. It's going to be a great show. Tons of different events happening. Plus, if you guys keep tuning in to the MLF, there's a lot of different of the team coverage happening between the, where James is on the team with Team Rent-A-Car or Team Fox Rent-A-Car. James Elam, you got Brent Chapman, you got Jonathan Van Dam in there on that team. And there are lots of different shootouts and lots of different events coming up. So Major League Fishing, definitely keeping it interesting, having fun, great events. We got Red Crest, heavy hitters, lots of things happening down the road for Major League Fishing. In my shows, hopefully down the road, I'll have the returning Brent Chapman on the show soon, Cliff Crochet. And of course, I know you guys are looking forward to having Skeet Reese join us. Should be a great time, guys. So if you guys are watching, seeing this in the live broadcast or in the rebroadcast, again, we're giving away the Speed Demon Pro Rod, as well as a Mega Jaws Elite reel to top it off, guys. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and you comment. And, of course, make sure you are subscribed to the KastKing YouTube channel. Now, if you're watching here via Facebook, make sure you like, you make sure you're following, you comment, and you share this broadcast somewhere, whether it's your page or one of your favorite forums. Make sure you get it shared, guys, and that's it. That's all you got to do to enter. And then, of course, next week we will randomly select a viewer out of the comment section after we verify that they've done everything we've asked, and of course announce that lucky winner's name on Tuesday night's live show. Guys, my name is AJ Gore, and I will see you guys next Tuesday night. Have a great night. Thank you very much.